Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to yet another StonesCast special. It's a really busy time of the year with all eyes now focused on Wembley and the FA Trophy final in a couple of weeks. We'll no doubt talk about that during this StonesCast special, but tonight's a little bit different because we have something quite frankly special as we invite Gordon Bartlett, Leo Morris, Mark Gill and Micky Johnson to join us for a trip down memory lane and really focus on their careers at Wealdstone spanning the best part of 22 years. I'm Adam Hills. I'm joined tonight by Mark Hyde, who's going to help control such a raucous bunch. How are you, Heidi?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm excited.
I am as well. I feel a little bit of pressure as well because I know that a lot of people have yearned for this cast. So we'll do our best to steer it and get some great content. We were just saying with six of us on tonight, it might get a little bit chaotic. With I'm sure many stories and lots to cover, but we'll do our best to steer it through. I must say as well, of course, thank you to our sponsors, Rolf East, West London's premier estate agents, and thank you for your continued support. So I'm going to do my best to not talk too much tonight because I'm sure I'm the last person that everyone wants to really hear from. So let me introduce our panel, starting with Mr. Gordon Bartlett. Gordon, how are you, sir?
Fine, thanks, Hillsy. And you?
Yeah, all good, mate. Thank you so much for joining us. Really looking forward to having a good chat with you tonight, mate. Of course, with Gordon comes Leo. Leo Morris, how are you, sir?
Yeah,
you well?
Yeah, good to be here. Good to see you.
Good stuff.
Good to have you.
Let me bring in now Mark Gill. How are you, sir?
Hi, Hillsy. Hi, Heidi. Gaffer. Leo, how are you?
All right, mate.
Yeah,
all good.
Bringing the cast back together and completing the lineup. Micky Johnson. Micky, how are you, sir?
Hi, Hillsy. Hi, Heidi. Yeah,
right.
Gordon, Leo.
All
Gilly,
right,
how you
mate.
doing, guys?
Lovely.
MJ.
Right.
Nice to see you,
Good.
boys.
So good stuff, gents. As I said, thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us. And I know there's been a lot of people that have wanted to hear from you guys for a long, long time. So, really excited about a lot of content to cover and a lot of years and a lot of matches. I was actually going to start with, I don't know if you sort of follow the cast and stuff, but I do love a stat. And I'm just trying to find Gordon and I think Leo, perhaps Gordon specifically, but across the span of your managerial career, do you know how many games you gaffed, for want of a better term?
What, Wealdstone?
No,
Generally?
including your times at Southall, Hounslow, and Yedding as well.
Absolutely no idea.
Okay, well, let me just run through those stats for everyone. So, Gordon, in total, you were manager for 1,853 games, winning 867, drawing 390, and losing 596. And in a total of those 1,853 games, you would have seen 5,830 goals. Looking at Wealdstone and that 22-year period, it was 1,275 games, 581 wins, 278 draws, and 416 defeats. That's a lot of football.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
No wonder I don't enjoy it so much nowadays.
Let me just start by really asking all of you, and perhaps we go around sort of Gordon, Leo, Gilly, Micky, just to try and keep it simple. But how are you? What are you doing now? Do you keep in touch? What's going on in your lives?
Who we starting with?
Gordon, you go first, mate.
What was the first question?
How are you?
It's going to be a long night.
How are you? What are you up to? What are you doing?
It could be, mate, yeah.
Who are you?
My attention span is not as good as it used to be. I now know what the players are like. Yeah, I'm fine, mate. Yeah, not doing a great deal, enjoying retirement, and not that involved in football. Enjoy probably golf more.
It's a fair call.
I'm playing with the grandchildren. They are certainly getting old.
Yeah, good stuff. Leo?
Well, I live in a lovely part of the country now. I'm down in Hampshire. I do very little, and I do what I want. I'm about
Take it.
a mile and a half away from the sea, about the same distance away from the New Forest in the other direction. I live opposite a lake. I do loads of walking. I'm out with the dog every morning. Like Gordon, I've got one grandson at the moment, and I've got another one on the way. And I'm loving life. I sit and gaze at the sea, and I drink beer and wine. What a life!
It's
You
nice.
do
You're
do a
way to
bit of
enjoy it.
football, though, Leo. We do see you at football from time to time.
Oh yeah.
You do-
I do like an away game. I always go to York, which we won't be able to do next season. Eastleigh, obviously not far from here. I go to see the Stones there. Last year, flew up to Newcastle to the Gateshead game.
I was with you.
Doing all right, but I do very little. Mind you, I am now a director of a management company down here, which looks after the property, part of the properties that I'm in now. And I'm the bookkeeper there, so I do a little bit to keep a little bit busy, but generally loving life.
Good call.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Gilly, how about you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Touch-wise, health-wise, I'm in a pretty good place, as well as can be expected. Sorry, I've got a bit of echo on my earphones, so you have to excuse me. Still working. Currently work nights at the moment, which suits me down to the ground. Every shift is a shift nearer to a retirement. So that much I'm looking forward to as and when it comes around. But basically, just family stuff, all those things that we missed out on over the years. My kids have grown up and older, moved away, done uni. 3 grandkids, same as Leo, another one on the way, middle of July. So looking forward to that. But that particular daughter lives in Sheffield now. So I spend quite a bit of my time making plans going up there to go and see her. And just generally all in a good place.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And we do see
Micky?
you at football as well, Gilly.
Yeah, I get down as often as I can. I had a season ticket for a few years, but my work timetable, in particular my start times, stops me from getting to any midweek games. So I just get down when I can, in and around the family stuff as often as I can.
Good to have us. Good to have you, Gilly. Micky seems to have disappeared off camera. Micky, are you still there, mate?
I'm still here.
Is the,
For some reason, I don't
is the
know.
Arsenal game started?
No.
Turn the lights off. You know.
I'm still here.
Switched off already.
Is that black background? That's what it is.
It's the shock. LFM's alive.
Where are you?
Moving.
Oh, it's
Leo
like going back
started earlier, mate.
10 years.
We'll see
Mate,
ya.
we've not even been on for 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
And how are you, Micky?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. I'm all good. Still involved in football. I think you might know I'm still at Chesham. I'm at Chesham with JD, helping JD and Muzza, Michael Murray. Just I don't think I get enough of it, to be honest with you. I think the missus wants me out of the house, so I carry on with that mantle. Still working at university in Warwick, lead technician down there, so I'm showing the youngsters how to do it still. And yeah, the family thing, still doing it. Still got a granddaughter. Still doing it, loving it, and long may it continue.
And Chesham obviously had a fairly good season, narrowly missed out on the playoffs, right? So you're still harbouring ambitions of coming up against the Stones one day?
Oh yeah, 100%. I can't wait to get abused out of the Vale at some point. But no, in all fairness, I think we're punching above a little bit. There's lots of full-time teams now in the National League South. It's a different ball game to even 10 years ago when obviously Wealdstone was in there. Half the clubs are full-time, a few are hybrid, and the rest are just trying to see if they can make ends meet. But it's a good level. It's a testing level, and it's even made worse now that teams like Farnham, who's got millions and millions, have come up along with Walton and Ursham, and they're the new non-league setup now. You know, youngsters are running clubs, not like it was before where the Butcher used to have a non-league club. Them days are long gone, I think.
Yeah, no, good stuff, Micky. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Okay.
So I want to maybe kick us off, really starting looking at Gordon and Leo, the blossoming of a relationship that started, I want to make sure I get this right because Gordon, I know your first management spell was with Southall back in the mid '80s.
Yeah.
And I think it was when you went to Hounslow that you and Leo first came together. Have I got that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
It's,
tell us in your own sort of,
Well,
how did that come about and all that?
if I could just jump in, before Gordon joined Hounslow, I was still playing at Hounslow, and we'd been rated to the Hellenic League, and I think 85, 86, we were in the Hellenic League. We were doing quite well. Alan Humphreys was the manager. I think he was something to do with Wealdstone at some stage. But anyway, he resigned with a few games to go. We just got beaten in a game. I can't remember who against. And then the chairman came in and asked me to take over for the last few games of that season, which I did. We finished third position, but we didn't get promoted back to the Southern League because the ground improvements weren't up to scratch. Anyway, that summer, we've heard that before. That summer, the chairman phoned me and said he'd appointed Gordon Bartlett. I didn't know Gordon personally, but I'd heard of him, obviously, and I'd gone to the Southall semi-final game in the Vase to watch. And we met, and Gordon said, look, should we work together? We'll give it a go for a season, see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, we go our separate ways. If it does, let's go from there. 30 years later, we were still together. So something must have been all right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Gordon?
He just summed it up, really. I was approached when I left Southall. Well, I didn't leave. It's we'd lost the FA Vase final. Obviously, that was my first season, so to lead the team out of Wembley was fantastic. But it was a little club with very little money and things, and had the offer from Hounslow, and although they'd gone down, it was a bigger club, and decided to go. But one of the stipulations was I had to work with this bloke Leo Morris. We met exactly what Leo said, and it worked. We just clicked. And I do remember the end of the very first season, we did get promoted. The end of the very first season, Leo said to me, listen, I don't know why I'm here sometimes. He said, you want to do everything yourself? You do the players, the training, the this, that, the other, and everything. And he said, involve me. So I did. It was the worst thing that he ever said, I'm sure, because I involved him in absolutely everything. Anything I didn't want to do, I passed on to Leo. And that happened for about 30 years.
We've always
fair
wondered
enough,
about
Leo?
that dynamic, Gordon, the Leo-Gordon dynamic. Was it good cop, bad cop? Because everyone always assumed Leo was the bad cop. Is that right?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
No, it wasn't that. I probably wasn't as tolerant as Gordon in a number of things, but we worked well together.
Listen,
it went.
I was going to, the bottom line of it worked. And we probably don't know how it worked, because we weren't great mates outside of it, but it worked together. I think he saw things that I didn't, and vice versa. And the one thing I can always say with Leo, he always had me back, and I knew that, and that was brilliant. There was no way we could have achieved that success. I mean, I probably tended to get more plaudits because you're the manager, but it was very much a working partnership. And one thing I will say, prior to coming to Wealdstone, and it's something I'm pleased with, and I don't know how Leo is about it, but going back to the Yedding days, we did manage to get to Wembley. Unfortunately, we didn't win. But by going to Ellen Road, I had the opportunity just before the lads went out of turning around to Leo and saying, you lead the team out, because I wanted him to have that honour, if for want of a better word, for all the work he'd done through all that time. There's no point in me doing it all the time if you can't say thank you to the person that's helped so much. And I know the lads loved it. There was a big roar went up in the changing room, and maybe that was a major reason we ended up winning it.
I'll tell you what, Gordon,
That was
Leo
fancy.
appreciated it as well because he does mention it in the pub from time to time. So
Oh,
obviously
does
did
he?
mean something to him.
Yeah, absolutely over the moon. It was brilliant. What an experience. It was fantastic. Brilliant.
And
We'll come on to. I'd like to do a bit of a deeper dive into that because obviously with the Stones impending trip to Wembley, I'd love to really draw on those experiences that you guys had twice of going
Yeah.
to Wembley. But I mean, you said there about the dynamic working. I mean, it clearly did because across your spells with 3-4 clubs, you won a lot more games than you lost. You always had a positive goal difference. So the results speak for themselves. But let me just let's maybe focus on sort of that transition then, because you were at Yeading in the sort of the early 90s, that coincided with a period as Wealdstone tumbled down the leagues, or in the Southern League South, I think it was. Yeading were riding high in the Isthmian Premier with a nice little setup, some really good players, and then you get a knock on your door from Mr. Rumans, I think it was. Just take us back to that. What we're talking sort of May, June 1995, I think this was now. You got a cushy number at Yeading, and Wealdstone come knocking and going into the Isthmian League Division 3. Just give us a bit of insight into that decision making, and was it an easy one or?
no, it was very difficult because I think we'd been there 7 years, Leo, wasn't it?
6.
6 years, and we punched. Well, Micky just said about Cheshire. We pumped way above our weight. We'd had 2 promotions. We won the FA Vars. I think we won the County Cup 3 times, and it was good, but it wasn't going to go any further. That was the problem. Whereas Wealdstone, you're going to a club with a fantastic history. We were going to get a new ground within a couple of years, and at that stage, we weren't going into the Division 3 of the Isthmian. So when the decision was made, all those things weren't quite there. And the other thing was there was all the players from the previous season. It turned out that we didn't obviously get the ground. We ended up at Edgware. We were playing in Division 3 of the Isthmian League, and 99% of the players had buggered off.
We sat down. We had an office. Yeah, we had an office at Yeading. We didn't have such a thing as that at Wealdstone. And we sat down one night. We wrote down the pros and cons. And there weren't many pros for going to Wealdstone, I'll tell you. But we made the decision, or Gordon made the decision. I was obviously going to stay with it. And I remember when he said, look, we were ground sharing at Edgware. I remember one of the games we turned up at Thurrock, I think, Gordon, East Thurrock, one night. And I think Gordon was driving. He turned to me and said, what the fuck have we done?
That weren't just one night I said that, I'm sure.
It must have been like that at Cove, wasn't it? The first game?
Hey?
Your first game was Cove, wasn't it?
Yeah,
oh,
9.
dear, yeah. It's
9-0.
Remember that. But yeah, generally, what a bad decision. But it works out all right in the end.
Well,
I think that the other thing,
sorry.
going at Wealdstone, I know my personal ambition, it was the fact that, we were, I don't know, should we say, when we moved to there, it was a big fish in a small pond. And we felt we could take them back to the conference, and the new ground was looming. So they were the major things that I felt that we decided to make the move. There was
And it was fans,
something there to build on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you remember this. The first night that we had a meet the manager night, and we've turned up, there was more coming to meet the managers that night than there was used to turn up for Yeading games.
Yeah, that's right. And that was another thing. We thought, blimey, it'd be great to perform in front of a crowd. And that's what for Wealdstone,
It's interesting, and just sort of maybe to set the scene, like there's a lot of obviously Wealdstone now playing in front of 1,500, 2,000 people regularly, but there's a lot of people that when you're referring back to 1995 and sort of saying getting the club back to the conference, but from Isthmian League Division 3, that's sort of a 4-step promotion, to get that way back. I guess that's the equivalent of something like Bury nowadays. So you clearly were kind of going into it with a long-term mentality. Did that? Obviously that first season.
I think the other thing, Adam, as well, I was certainly unaware the club were in administration at that stage as well. I've forgotten that.
A minor detail.
That
Mind
was
you-
another major plus.
When we saw a list of the players' wages, we think, bloody hell, no wonder they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Just talk us through those first few seasons in the Isthmian League, sort of as we come, towards the turn of the century, and we obviously that first season in Division 3, when I guess we were expected to walk the league, we ended up finishing 4th and not getting promoted. So we had 2 seasons at that level. How difficult was it, especially with the ground only 2 years away and stalled progress there? How was it? Did you maintain that enthusiasm, or did you ever sit there and go, into the journey, we've made the wrong choice here?
Who's going to answer that one? I'm happy to.
Personally, I don't think I ever thought we'd made the wrong choice. I thought progress would be made. It might not have been as rapid as everyone around the club wanted, but we knew it would. We were confident that it would happen in the end.
I think it was trying to nurse the club back to health, really. We knew it was going to be a gradual process. And, going back to the times we sat down with Don Wiley when he was treasurer and trying to get an extra 10 quid out of him for a player or something like that. And it was difficult because he didn't have an extra 10 quid. And it was hard work convincing people to come there. And it was a very, very difficult time, but we stuck with it. And we got some very, very good people through it. The likes of, going back to those days, Fergus Moore, played with his heart on his sleeve, Chrissy Walton, Roy Marshall, Lee Walker, always remember Dom Sterling, touch tackle, wasn't it, Leo?
Yeah. Unbelievable. What a bunch of lads. I mean, that was it. That the lads that we managed, or you managed to get together was fantastic. What a bunch of blokes, Brilliant.
And in turn, we pulled in Frank O'Brien as well. I mean, Frank was an absolute legend, wasn't he, when he first came in? Brilliant.
Yeah.
What was it like in terms of an experience of having those dressing rooms in that sort of late 90s periods where there's a lot of expectation on the squad, with a demanding fan base, to keep the players motivated, to keep them driving forward?
With the players that we had in those days, I don't think we needed, or Gordon didn't need to motivate them at all. They were all self-motivators. They wanted to win. I think I'm right there, Gordon.
Definitely. You have your dips and your troughs and things like that, There's certainly days where they were absolutely buzzing and others where you needed a lift because of major disappointments or whatever else. I remember playing Braintree at home, and it's a game we had to win. And the dressing room just seemed flat prior to the game. And I remember sending for Lee Walker because he was a sort of life and soul, and he was injured that day or whatever, and he was in the bar. So we got him out of the bar just to bring him in the changing room, just to sort of liven the place up. And I'm not saying it was him, but I think that was a game we won sort of 6-1 or something.
Yeah.
6-0, people had an influence, and Lee was certainly one, Fergus another one. I've already mentioned a couple. They were certainly team members, not self.
Without doubt.
I think the world's changed in that way. The names you mentioned, Gordon, were proper old school non-league footballers.
Yeah. Well, even from my point of view, it even changed in, my years at Wealdstone. You look at those, they were nearly all local lads and things like that. By the time we went, you're pulling them in from all over the place, and the finances were a hell of a lot different. So people would pay for sort of 20 quid a week and go and give their heart and soul to it. Whereas in the latter years, when they're earning probably, in the hundreds, I don't think they always did. And it's hunger, I think, in general.
Yeah.
It really meant something to those in those days because it was still more like playing in the park with your mates.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys like Walks and Fergus, they're still big on the scene, and
Yeah.
Walks comes to games, and Fergus is on Twitter regularly. Wealdstone's still in the blood.
Very much so. Yeah, not at all surprised,
Yeah.
But I think, society has changed. So I suppose it goes along with it.
Yeah.
So Gordon and Leo, in that period of what was 96 to 99, we eventually get ourselves up, Div 3, straight through Div 2, and then we have that great run and what should have been promotion from Isthmian in Division 1 at the end of, 98, 99. And of course, we were denied that promotion on the ground grading technicality. How much, and there's been many setbacks, I'm sure, in the 22 years that you guys were at the helm, but where did that setback of failing to get promotion out of Division 1 after all the momentum of the previous seasons, where did that hit and kind of rank for you, and how difficult was it to go again, being still in Division 1 the following season?
I'll answer that one because I did write a resignation letter. I never sent it, and I don't think Leo knows that either.
Didn't know.
But I just happened to find it the other day. I was clearing out a load of stuff, and I came across it. I read it, and it certainly brought back a few memories. But in the end, once again, decided to stay put, and it was the right decision, I think. Even though it was a major disappointment, obviously not going up and not getting the ground. I mean, there were two went virtually hand in hand, didn't they?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the next season we struggled?
Well, I was going to say what followed
was a surprise, was it?
No, that's right. I mean, it affected everyone, and I think we struggled the next season.
I'd say looking at so the following season, after finishing third in 98-99, we finished 16th, then 19th, then 18th. So there was clearly a bit of a hangover from that setback. But I'm going to sort of fast forward then a couple of years as we went towards the national or the non-league restructuring in 2002 or 3, and it obviously culminated in that incredible night at Dulwich Hamlet where we, I say, got promoted. It was more trying to kind of stay at the same level. But that was one of my first major experiences at Wealdstone, and like the buzz of that, the atmosphere, it was unreal. Just humour me and tell me your recollections of that night at Dulwich Hamlet.
Well, I've still got the video, and my son, who still goes to more games than I do, Craig. I think he still laughs at me because he can see me sort of skipping round the pitch at one stage at the end. So why the hell I was skipping, God only knows, but just what you do when you're excited or sort of over the moon about it. It was fantastic. And the circumstances even more so because we looked like blowing it until Dave Ryan hit that free kick that we've been trying probably most of the season that had failed. And then to win it on penalties, which is, I don't know how many penalties we missed in the season. It was quite a few, but it was an incredible way to get promoted. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a brilliant night. Absolutely fantastic night. Yeah. Richard Jolly scored the last penalty, didn't he?
He did.
I think he'd missed a couple. I think he missed a couple.
He'd missed a couple, and I don't. Again, my own recollection. I'd managed to get to the far side of the pitch, over by the corner flag as the last penalty was taken, and Joel's, once he scored it, ran round, and we met each other on the corner of the penalty area and jumped into each other's arms. How the hell I got over there, I've got no idea.
I remember running on the pitch with Marvin Morgan because I think he was I don't know whether I think he'd started and we pulled him or something. He was a sub.
Pulled him off, yeah.
And I remember running on the pitch with him. Great night, fantastic.
Oh, fantastic.
One of the things, just kind of looking at that, at the team that took to Dulwich that night and the squad that had been developing over that couple of year period was very flush with young talent. And you mentioned Marvin, rest in peace, Marvin, Francis Joseph, saying to him, there was a huge element of the pace scheme, the Alma Counties teams. You know, there was how vital were those structures and those players coming through for the club at that time?
I mean, I'd say we worked bloody hard to try and get that pay scheme up. I mean, Fingers was tremendous in doing that. And we did really, really pull a lot of strings to get that up and going. And there was two reasons. One, we needed young players and to give the club sort of some sort of identity. I mean, without a home for all those years, we struggled. But the pay scheme did two things. One, it obviously brought youngsters in and talented youngsters in the local area. But two, it brought in extra money. And that money probably bolstered the wages. And that helped in two ways. So it was enormous.
I'm gonna come in here now. It's in my opinion, Gordon Bartlett is probably the best manager Wealdstone's ever had. Never mind about the trophies and all of that other people might have won. What he built with that pace scheme and around it kept the club going. Without him, I don't know where the club would have been. Unbelievable what he did, what he achieved. Fingers and other people helped along, but Gordon drove all that. He was the main man. And without him, I don't believe the club would have still been going. I know the fans have done their bit, but Gordon Bartlett, top man, he kept it going. He made it happen.
I don't think anyone's doubting you, Leo. Gordon's a true club legend, as you know.
And you only have to look at some of the players that came out, and obviously Jermaine being the obvious one, and you know the money that we got for him going to Leeds at the time. But there was he was one of several very talented players that went on to play and have decent football league careers. So that's kind of taken us through to sort of the early part of this century, and with the restructuring, we then found ourselves back in the Isthmian Premier League, and I think we had a few seasons of mediocrity. I think we flirted with relegation. I think we transferred to the Southern League in 1 year,
Just one season.
and of course that's the time in which I've just been disturbed. Moved to Northwood. And I think, if I'm right, Gilly, this coincides with about the time that you joined the club. So, Gilly, can I just invite you to come and just tell your part of the story of how you came to be part of Gordon's management team?
It's a bit of a strange one, actually, because I'd been at Uxbridge for, I don't know, 15, 16 years maybe. And God rest him, George thought that was dismissed in the summer. It was all done very badly, and nobody from the club contacted me to tell me what my position was. At some point, Gordon called me and said, "Would you like to come on board?" I had nothing from the club, Uxbridge guys, to say anything any differently, that they wanted me to stay, wanted me to go. And it was one of those situations where you kind of, I'm going to look after myself. From a playing and a coach's perspective, I mean, I've been a player coach for about, I think, the last 5 years of my time at Uxbridge. Wealdstone were always that big club in the area, irrespective of where they were, what division they were in. They were the one that was always viewed locally by me and my peers as the club. I mean, Hayes were doing well. They worked up the leagues, doing well, but Wealdstone were always the team. I knew Gordon and Leo from a distance, but their reputations went before them, and the opportunity to carry on coaching a club that, and I think Leo touched on it earlier, with a fan. And that can't be underestimated. What that means to a player, a coach, a manager, you want that behind you. You want to have those people driving you forward, and that's ultimately, I think that's the biggest thing, that you like to achieve things individually, but collectively, and if you can bring some sort of success to as many people as possible, that's a big part of being in sport, let alone any walk of life. So it didn't take much for me to agree. Came on board in, I think it was 2006, I think, if memory serves me. Yeah, and the rest was history. Without contradiction, best 10 years of my public life, without a doubt.
And what were your sort of first impressions? I think you're right. It was 2006-07, which was that Southern League season where we narrowly stayed up. What were your sort of initial experiences and assessments of coming from Uxbridge to Wealdstone?
That's a very good
inside
to answer. My first pre-season training session was me pretty much on my own with about 80 players, and I thought, what the fuck have I done here? And it's like, how am I going to keep all these people engaged? I knew I was entering into a big club, but if I didn't know before then, I did at that first pre-season session. And then we kind of, between us, we worked out, we did his session, Leo did his, I did mine. But obviously, I think there was a degree of you have to set boundaries, draw lines in the sand. I think Gordon and Leo kind of left me to it in the initial stages to say, make them work with these people, and let's go from there. But yeah, that first session was very daunting. Let's put it that way.
So they threw you under the bus, Gilly.
I would never accuse Leo and Gordon of doing that. That's probably the way it felt, if the truth be told. No, not at all. It just went to show me that, this is a club. I mean, any club that can attract that many people, that many players at the first pre-season session, that, this is a club.
Gilly, you brought some boys with you, didn't you? Really, you brought your Chris O'Leary's, your Bamford Brothers, with good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, with hindsight, I know we've spoken about this in the past. I think that first season in Southern League, we kind of got it wrong a little bit in that we thought it was going to be a really physical league, and the boys that came with me had that physical, those physical attributes, but they had good quality as well. And I think we were surprised by the level of football that was played in that league. So I think we got that a little bit wrong. Fortunately enough, we survived that season, and I'll probably touch on that a bit later when we talk about highs and lows. But yeah, they were good lads. I know there's a bit of history with a couple of them and stuff, but they were good lads. We're talking about Wolf, Fergie, and those types of players. They were probably, they were definitely players of that type of ilk that was coming towards the end of that generation of players. Lads together in a dressing room will fight for each other, and that was the type of player that George got around him because of the finances that he had at Uxbridge. He lent on that type of character to be as successful as he could be with the money available. So that's the sort of dynamic that took me to Wealdstone, and never regretted it for a minute.
It was a tough season that though, Gilly, wasn't it? And the following season, we seem to have different players every week in my memory back then.
Yeah, it was a difficult time. I think it was trying to work out what was going to work in that particular league. I know that's a little bit strange, but the leagues are very, very different in their own way. And it's kind of finding your feet as to say, right, okay, what is going to work here? And it's you think on your feet and you're trying to make the best decisions as you can. Hopefully you get more right than wrong. And I think over time, certainly the first two seasons, we've probably got a fair few wrong, if we're being brutally honest. But I think as time went on, we learned and adapted pretty quickly. And for the most part, I think we tended to progress season upon season, not necessarily as quickly as we wanted to, but ultimately we got where we wanted to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've still got Gordon with us. He's gone dark as well.
Yeah.
Have I gone dark?
Yeah.
I can still see me. It's not a
I
brick
can't
side.
see you either.
You don't have my screen.
I'll tell you what I have done.
Go on.
I've just put my phone on charge because it was getting down.
Okay.
Would that make a difference? You
I
don't
don't
need
know.
to see me anyway, do you?
And not unless you face the camera downwards, but yeah.
As long as we
No,
can
it's
hear you,
not.
that's the main thing.
No, I can still see everybody, and I can still see me in my little sort of square, but still.
Gordon Leo Gilly, the Northwood days are seen as arguably our lowest point as a club, and we were really struggling at that point. Did you feel the pressure of that?
Felt the pressure of not having a home. Felt the pressure of not having a ground, and we knew this was just I don't know, temporary. But obviously that temporary went on a bloody long time, and it's still going on. Well, I say it's still going on. Obviously now Ruislip's a home, and we certainly needed that. But you know, you look back to those Northwood days with a lot of fondness, to be honest with you, and the likes of, you know, when Simon Garner came in, for example, you know, what a little coup that was. And he made a difference, didn't he? An enormous difference.
Yeah.
That just bit of experience, and that come via Darren Linden, I think it was. Phoned me one day and told me that he was being released from Her Majesty's service, and I met him in a hotel. I think that was on the Friday night. Had a long chat. Tried to tell him our ambitions. He was just keen to play football, to be honest with you, and he needed to pay his wife a bit of maintenance. So as long as we could give him a bit of money, he was quite happy. And I think the following day, we signed that night. The following day, we played at Hertford, and he turned up in the dressing room. And I remember Steve Bircham coming to me when we're all standing out on the pitch, and he went, "Here, Simon Garner's in our changing room. What the hell's that about?" And that was it. That was his introduction.
That's quality. We did get some good players. I know we churned over a lot of players in those years, but we did. There were some gems in there, weren't there?
Oh, absolutely. They might not have been with us for very long, but yeah, I mean, some very, very good players. There are far too many to mention on here. Far too many. But there was a few characters in there, and obviously we've mentioned a couple already. But Simon was one. He was still the fastest player I've ever seen over a yard.
The North, probably one of the best days, you know, up there amongst them was the day we won the league at Northwood.
Well, obviously, Hillsy's just mentioned Dulwich, and Dulwich and Northwood will still be the 2 days that are probably in Cambridge away. The 3 days I remember most of all, with the exception of the Margate win. But go on, Leo, what you're going to say about the Northwood win?
We really saw what the fans, I think, say. And I think when I ended up and some of the players ended up in the middle club somewhere out, God knows where.
You're breaking up a bit, Leo.
Yeah, it's just breaking up.
Come closer, maybe.
Wine. I think it's a wine.
No. Is that better?
That sounds better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, that was a great day. You know, we ended up celebrating well into the night that night.
It was a great day, a great night, and I remember leaving your house in a very, very early in the morning after breakfast. Yeah, it was a very good day.
Brilliant play.
Just while we sort of reflect on that that Northwood era and that period of struggle, I have to ask about the I don't know whether I want to call it an experiment, but the period of time where Andy Leese came into the club as assistant manager or another coach, joint manager, actually, I think it was at the time.
Joint manager.
Joint manager. I can't remember how long it lasted for, but I think it's safe to say it wasn't successful. Again, tell us about that period.
I'm going to be totally frank here. We were struggling. We were struggling to try and get players in, finances, everything else. I'd always respected Andy's sides. Leo and I had a quick chat about it and decided that, maybe that was worth a try, bringing somebody else in to try, not only Andy, but obviously his players. And the bottom line, I didn't know him well enough and it didn't work between us.
Yeah, but you had to try something. We got a whole situation that got a bit stale. We weren't going well. So you try something, don't you? It's like getting at a player and you go, well, that didn't work. So you let him go, whatever. Same thing. Let's try something new. Let's see if we can kickstart it again. Let's give it a go.
Always looking to try and do different things. There was one goal, and that was obviously trying to bring success to Wealdstone in whatever way we possibly could. And that was something we tried, and don't regret trying it. Regret it didn't work.
It's always strange because, as you said, sort of, I think we all remember Andy mainly because of his Cheshunt side that seemed to time and time again turn up and be absolute world beaters. But when, as you said, half those players, Ross White, Andy Keepens, Russell Ling, when they put a Wealdstone shirt on, it's like they were different players. It's mad how some players just work at one club and not another.
He did bring Spendy and Chapso, didn't he?
Yeah. See, that's another thing. I mean, we'll look at Lee Chappell. Lee Chappell did work because Lee Chappell was a great lad. And I don't think him and Andy always saw eye to eye, but we managed to, get more out of him maybe. Whereas a couple of the other players didn't produce when they came to Wealdstone. Sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time with the right people.
Absolutely.
It was a 1 year thing, wasn't it? From memory. Yeah.
It was there to try. I don't think it lasted that long either.
Yeah. Micky, are you still there, mate? He's on mute.
You're on mute, Micky, if you're talking.
Micky, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
He said, no, I got bored, I've gone home.
Busy
Well, I'm
watching
at
the
home, so
Arsenal.
yeah, you're right.
Fed up listening to you lot.
Micky, I have to be honest. I was struggling to locate exactly when you joined Wealdstone. Am I right in thinking you had some role through Northwood and working with Carl Martin or something like that, or was I completely barking up the wrong tree with that?
No, you vaguely right. I think I'll have to go back a bit. So my workings was that I was working at a youth Sunday football club called Pinnacle, which was run by Carl Martin's dad, Carl and Callum Martin's dad, Cuthbert Martin. God rest his soul. And my son, who was a year younger than Carl, Corey, he joined this team, Pinnacle. And I think it was about 2000, 2001. Anyway, I ended up meeting Carl, had a chat, got involved, ran a team. We were successful. As the age group got older, I think, as Gordon mentioned, with the pay scheme, we were really good. So loads of our players ended up going on trial to Stanmore College. We came along, and I think at the time, if I'm wrong, Gordon, correct me, but I think there was quite a few coaches. I think Francis Joseph was there, Frank O'Brien was there, Gordon was there, and a few others. And we got involved because we brought a lot of players over. Carl and Callum being one of them. And the link kind of came from that sort of side. Obviously, Callum, Carl, and a few other players joined the pay scheme. They were part of that team, that under-8 teams that played Liverpool. Good FA Youth Cup run. And previous to that, going back, I think it was probably about 2002, I met Gordon, and Gordon was the Middlesex FA's manager. And he was there looking after the under-18s and the under-16s, I do believe. They'd asked me to run the under-16 side for Middlesex. I had a good side. Half the players came. I knew most of the players in the Middlesex area at that time. And me and Gordon got on, and we started off a connection in some strange way. He liked what I did with the players. And then I met him again at Stanmore. And then I ended up in around 2008, I think it was. Francis Joseph was running the Ruislip Manor team. He decided that there was no money there, so he left. I got a call from Fingers to go for an interview for the first team manager job at Ruislip Manor, along with Jim Christian, John Christian's dad. Yeah. Jim decided to throw me under the bus, basically. But I got the job. I got the job to do the Ruislip Manor's job, probably the worst thing I've ever did. But it gave me an insight into what non-league football is all about, from managing and running the club. There was no money. Wealdstone at the time were looking for a ground, as you know, and I think it was at Harefield. Am I right? I think it was was it 2008 season? He was at Harefield. You had a season at Harefield?
No, from Northwood to Ruislip.
Ruislip to North. Okay. And I was told in a certain way that, you know, don't make a success of it, because obviously if the club goes down, then there's a ground there that someone can take, and Wealdstone were going to obviously be involved in it. And all I said to Fingers and Peter Warby was, I just want to have an under-18 side. I've got some players that are good enough to play an under-18 side, but we've got nowhere to put them. I'll do what I can, even in a roundabout way. But if we carry on going, can I get an under-18 side? And they said, yeah. And I think I had a season with the under-18s. We won the league in the double the following year. And I think Gordon invited me over to be involved with the first team. And I think that was the 08-09 season, because I do remember doing some scouting roles, going to watch games. I watched Aylesbury on the FA Cup run. I think I went and watched Rotherham. So I think that would have been the starting point, 08-09, if I remember rightly.
Your son played, Leo, in that under-18s team.
No, he played. He played in the Capital League side a few times. But he played in
that against Haraborough.
Yeah. He played a few times.
Yeah.
He played. I tell you what, he did play one game for the under-18s. That was at Hamwell. It was the under-18s. It was at Hamwell, Mick. I don't know if he scored.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I do remember.
He scored.
Yeah. Because funny enough, in the end, me and Leo ended up running the Capital League side with Murphy. We ran it, and we saw a lot of players come through that. Yeah. I used to bag a goal. I think I bagged goals in the back Alex Dye for ages, and he weren't having him for a while. But it was one of them. But I saw Alex, and I thought, what a player! We need him in our first team. And if I remember right, I think we signed him. And then he'll give a ball away.
Mick, you're 100% right, mate. He was a very, very good player.
He was. We got lucky with that.
And a lovely fella.
Yeah. He was a top guy. Top guy.
They were good nights, actually, Mickey.
I don't know if you've
Capital League games. It was always entertaining.
Yeah, that was good. We had some decent players in there, you know.
Yeah, we did.
Plus, you had a couple of league sides. You had a couple of maybe the first team players that were coming back from injury or something like that. It was opportunity for them to have a game, get themselves back fit. It was good. It was all right.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
If you haven't seen it, I sat down with Alex Dyer last year and did a bit of a "This Is Your Life" with him, because his footballing story is fascinating. So a little bit of a plug there, and if anyone hasn't seen it, it's a good watch. So Micky, you've just sort of timed that nicely, because it, as you said, coincided really with Wealdstone, the move to Grosvenor Vale ahead of the 2008-09 season, and I reminded myself the first league game at the Vale, what was a home game for Wealdstone, was against Tunbridge Angels, 0-0 in front of 378 people. And I remember at the time thinking, wow, that's a good crowd. And, it's in the context of where we are now, it's unbelievable. And it's unbelievable actually to me to think that was nearly 20 years ago.
Wow.
I can't fathom that we have been at Grosvenor Vale for 18 years. It is just mad. But that move to Grosvenor Vale and, hey, Micky, your arrival at the club coincided with a real steep, I say steep actually, a rise in success and a period of success for the club. And I just glanced in at the brilliant WFC history website and kind of looking at that period from kind of this being Premier League days from 2008 onwards. There are, 7 or 8 top half or single digit place finishes. And I feel like we were building towards the promotion that inevitably came in 2013-14. But Gordon, Leo, if I can just invite, and Gilly, you guys could sort of come back in now and just those first few years at the Vale, especially with just not on the pitch, but also off the pitch as the club tried to improve the infrastructure. We had the FA Cup game against Rotherham. We had failed playoff campaigns. We had an FA Trophy run. Can I just invite just some thoughts and recollections of that era?
Well, I'll just go to arriving at Ruislip. And I remember being taken down there one day, and there was more grass in the car park than there was on the pitch. And I thought, this is the reason we left Yedding. And yeah, not happy. But in hindsight, home is where the heartbeat is. And without a home, we struggled for such a long time. And by having a base, that gave the club a heartbeat. And it's just blossomed. It was a slow progress, but it blossomed into something that you've got now, which is fantastic.
I think what you
said. How important was that, Leo? The ground and
the ground. I mean, what the amazing thing I think at the time was that's when you saw the fans really digging in, and I mean digging in. They were at the ground as Gordon was, as I was. We're digging up weeds, we're digging ditches, we're cleaning the terraces, we're trying to make the ground a ground because it was a shithole, really. And that was when everyone really pulled together to get at least a ground that we could play on. Well, look where it is now.
It gave us an identity, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
I can remember Gordon asked me to go and watch a pre-season game at Ruislip Manor. Obviously before our move there, and my one overriding memory, I was standing behind one of the goals to the side of it, and the goalkeeper put the goal kick, he put the ball down in the 6-yard line, and as he stepped back to take his run up, his foot disappeared down a hole, and his ankle disappeared, and probably a third of his leg. I'll never forget it. And then when Gordon said to me, "We're moving to Ruislip Manor," I thought, how the fuck are we going to attract the type of players? We knew the way we wanted to play.
Yeah.
But we thought, how on earth are we going to get players to come down and play here? But Gordon said to me, you know what? It's a home. It's a base. It's a revenue stream. It's all those things that we didn't have. You think back to the Northwood days, luckily enough, I remember in them days I had an estate car. And we had stored of gear, balls, bibs, poles. They lived their lives in the back of my car for a long time. But so just to have somewhere where you could store things and you knew where it was, and I didn't have to necessarily be there for people to access it, and just little things you don't even think about. And it was the best thing we ever did. Didn't think at the time. I think Gordon gone off his nut. But you do what you do. You stick by each other. And you say, right, this is where we are. This is where we're at. Let's make this work. And I think that's what we were kind of good at in lots of different ways. We just adapted to stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't bleating about what we didn't have. It's more a question of saying, right, what do we have? How can we make the best of what we got?
And how can we make it work? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was probably between us all, the four of us. I think that's probably the biggest skill set that we had, as much as anything else.
It wasn't the problem; it's how you dealt with it.
Yeah, absolutely. find a
That's right.
solution.
I think coming in, you talk about the ground and for the fans as well. From our point of view, it was really bonding. You say about working on the ground, but it just became we're all in it together now. We can make something off this. You know, we're maybe manufacturing rivalries. No one likes us. The Cowleys, the whole thing. It just the Knights against, you know, the Cowleys and things. They just bonded everybody. It was just an amazing thing.
I have to say, I think that sometimes there are things that happen that's very hard to quantify and qualify. But from the players and the managers and coaches' perspective, when you see fans do the things that they did to that ground to make it a place where we could perform, it goes such a long way. It just breeds this togetherness, and it's like you say that we had this mentality that, you know, who cares? No one likes us. We don't give them monkeys. And I think that's the one thing we always respected about the Cowleys and what they did. They did something similar. And it might not have looked like it at the time on the touchline, you know, a bit heated on various occasions, but we had the ultimate respect for them. And I can remember, and Gordon will probably back me up in this, there's times we used to have our meetings, normally on a Thursday night, about what had gone on the week and what was going to happen at the weekend. And if there was anything that we wanted to know about a team or a player, Danny Cowley was one of the first people that Gordon used to turn to.
Yeah,
His knowledge of people was second to none. And I think we were like kindred spirits in a way. I know that they didn't like us. I think we did 6 one year when I think was Joel's on loan or something.
That was at their place, wasn't it? We beat them 6-1 at their place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, they came to the Vale, and I think something happened to their minibus. I think someone slashed their tyres, and I think that's where the negativity came from that side. If you remember right, I think there was a problem with the tyres being slashed. And
I think as a management group,
they beat us in the playoff that year.
Oh, that was a night.
Oh, mate, that 2-1, crikey. Yeah.
They were trying to take the players off the pitch.
For the coach?
Pardon?
Sorry, Gordon, go on.
I said, was that comeuppance for the coach?
Maybe.
I mean, we dominated that game that year, hadn't we?
Yeah.
Absolutely dominated.
Last minute of 90 minutes and then last minute of extra time.
Yeah.
Was that, if I remember rightly, wasn't that a Thursday night? Did we not have to play Saturday?
I think it was.
Because we had the trophy run, we had a few games that was backlogged, and we played Tuesday, Thursday. We played them on a Thursday evening, if I remember rightly. And
I can't remember which way round it was.
We were playing Tuesday, Thursdays at that point, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we not beat them in the league game. And
I think we beat them in the league game.
And then we lost to them a few weeks later.
And it was almost identical, but the opposite way round. I think they've well and truly done us at home, and we beat them late on, and then vice versa in the playoff. But
that's right.
Disappointing.
I know I've spoken to you about it in the pub, Leo, but you always said that the Cowleys were top guys and they'd have fitted in very well as Wealdstone managers, wouldn't they?
Well, I remember one conversation, Gilly, you might remember it, before the game. It wasn't the playoff, but we were talking to Danny, and he said, what you've got here is what we would aspire to do.
Yeah.
He liked the Wealdstone attitude. He liked the fans. He liked that edginess about it because it fitted in with his whole style. And he did like Wealdstone.
We were up in the same class. Definitely.
There was a lot of mutual respect there.
Saw the game the same way. Maybe played it slightly differently, but the values were still the same about, you know, work ethic and togetherness and, you know, that siege mentality. You know, witness the fitness. Do you remember that one? That was his thing, wasn't it? Witness the fitness.
Yeah.
But I respected him, and he's gone on to have a decent career in the game. Good luck to it. You know, him and Micky and their dad, they were all nice people. Never had a problem with them off the pitch at all.
There we go.
I remember Canby Island only having one team when I was around, and then they made it almost like Concord was the best team on the island.
Yes, they did. Absolutely.
Okay. We've just covered sort of the 2012-13 seasons. We maybe just skipped over the trophy season in 2012-13, I think it is. But I think we'll come to that when we talk FA Trophy, maybe towards the end. Let's maybe jump forward one season and talk about the Ryman winning title side in 2014. Again, we sat down with some of the squad about a year ago now with sort of Wes Parker, Johnny Wright, Sean Cronin, and I think who else was on it now, but it was a brilliant cast with those guys. So
I think Northie was on that, wasn't he?
Say that again?
I think Northie was the other one on that, wasn't
A
he?
Northie, of course it was
Yeah, I
Northie.
can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a brilliant cast, and clearly that group of players was real close knit, and obviously you had your Glenn Littles and your Scott McLeishes in there. It was a real classy side as well as an experienced side, but it felt, although we've been progressing and we had the near misses, I think at the end and after that Concord game there was quite an uphaul of players at the end of that season. Let me just invite you guys to again share your recollections of that brilliant season and how it culminated at Margate.
I can only remember Margate.
You know what, Gov, I was just about to say, I don't remember much about the season. We sort of stuttered a little bit. It took us games to get the win, and it was the Margate game, the one that sticks out.
It was a bit of a slow build to winning it that night, Leo, if you remember. We'd been at, who were we playing at Aveley the Saturday before? When we
played Grays. Was it Grays?
Grays.
I think Grays.
Yeah, Grays.
And it was, I think it was 1-0 for ages. We were losing 1-0. It was a dusty old game. It was a dry pitch. And I think Scott McLeish got the equaliser with a. Yeah. Yeah, and I think Scott McLeish got that. But going back to that season, I remember that season. And what I remember about it was, if you remember the pre-season, I think we got a lot of new players in. Because the previous years, like you said, we'd lost to Concord. And I think we had an issue with Lowestoft as well, maybe a few years back. And the players that we had were maybe didn't fit the bill, if you like. And then we changed things around. And I don't know how Gordon did it, but he got a lot of play. He got the West Park. I think Johnny, I don't know how he got Johnny Wright. He was from up north, if I remember rightly. I can't think. He was leading. He was a 10. And we watched him. And we were like, how is he a number 10? But up north, he was a leading player. And if I remember right, he couldn't score for ages. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember playing in the reserves one night, and he was absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Do you know he got some real stick one game off the fans, and he turned a corner after that. I'm not saying it was the fans who turned him, but he was having a tough time early days.
It was.
I think he had a tough. He might have had a tough time just coming down south.
Yeah.
Boys, what turned it for Johnny more than anything else? When he learned how to tie up his shoelaces.
Yeah.
That was the key to his turnaround, filling it out.
Yeah.
We got him a pair of boots that had Velcro straps on it.
He still pops up at games every now and again, by the way, gents. He does come to games now and again, Johnny.
Yeah, top lad.
Nice guy, lovely guy.
I think for me, one of the turning points, I think we played if I remember rightly, Hornchurch and Billericay went up the season before. And then they came straight back down again. And we played Hornchurch, and I thought, this is going to be a tough game. I think it was a mid game. And they had like a maroon kit. And we absolutely, I think Tom Pett absolutely, we battered them. We absolutely battered them. And I thought Tom Pett was like unplayable that game, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Unplayable.
Yeah. Great footballer.
Yeah, and we just had the makings of a side that was ready to go up. I didn't know if it was going to happen, but I felt we had a side that was ready to go up because we'd missed out twice. I mean, we had the game against Lowestoft when away when I don't know how we could never beat Lowestoft, and then the Concord Rangers game. So I just felt it was time. It was our time to go up.
I think the thing is, Mick, at that stage we had a very good balance in the side.
Yes.
And I think that was the biggest thing. You know, you had your strength, you had your experience, you had your youngsters, you had that little bit of flair, and you had a couple of people that could score goals as well. And
Yeah.
there was also a strong mentality in that group.
Yeah. Agreed.
You mentioned Tom Peck. Did we notice him in that? Was it a Middlesex Senior Cup game when he scored against us for Potter's Bar? Was that where we looking at him before?
I knew about Tom before that,
Okay.
and I had a good relationship with the manager at Potter's Bar, and we spoke, and he basically said, "Listen, I think it's a good time for you to take him."
Great player.
Hell
Great
of a
guy
player.
as well. Really.
Still is.
Oh, absolute diamond.
Gaffer, if I remember rightly, I think remember us having conversations when Tom first came, and he technically was very, very good. But making that step up, we knew that physically he wasn't quite what he needed to be. And we, I think for a period of time, we put him in a bit of a diamond on the left of the diamond.
Yeah.
And got him used to the physicality and stuff. And when he learned to cope with that, along with his technical side of things, that's when he became the player that he was. And I think you recognised that very early on. So kudos to you that you recognise the raw materials. It's just a question of then how you can then manipulate all the bits that a player has to bring the best out of them. And I think
Yeah,
he got toughened up.
The person that was a major influence on him, I think, was Glenn Little.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'll add to that. I'll add somebody else into that because he was a major influence. Glenn was fantastic, but without someone like Elliot Godfrey in that side, then
Forgot about Elliot.
Elliot sort of went. If
crikey.
Glenn went wandering, which he often did, you know, you'd find him at left back, right wing, or whatever.
Yeah.
Els would always sit in and do that job for him, and I think his experience and again, it's
100%.
about playing for the side. And Elliot was an unsung hero.
Yeah,
And I think he helped Tom.
Elliot had a
and another
that you can't teach anyone.
Yeah,
it's an ability to know what a circumstance is, how you need to, adapt to it to fill in for someone who is, off doing their own thing. And if it doesn't work or it breaks down, I need to be here to knit this together. And you're absolutely right.
Do you know there's I think it was that season we played Enfield, and I'm going back to Glenn Little now. But the influence he had on that game, I've never seen one man change a game so much. Don't know if you guys recall that.
We were shooting down.
Yeah, exactly that. And you brought him on, and the fans still talk about it. I don't know how many people were in the ground, probably 20, but I've never seen one player change a game in such a dramatic fashion. You remember it, Micky?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah,
did it finish 4-2?
Yes, it did. Yeah, it did. Good memory. Yeah.
Guys, can you remember? We've all been around football dressing rooms and football environment, for many, many years. But can you remember? I can't remember. He was a friend of a friend, one of the supporters when Glenn was mentioned. And I can remember when Glenn was in his pomp as a pro. There was talk of him playing for England. I remember it vividly. And Gaffer, I don't know if you remember, but you didn't know who he was. Can you remember that?
He can't remember. He doesn't know who he was. I can't remember.
Well, anyway, that aside, when he first turned up, what became the physio room at some point? Do you remember that used to be our room where we used to be?
Yeah, but Glenn took it over in the end.
Yeah, I don't think
it was
Glenn
Glenn.
crawled in there, if you remember. And I don't think I've ever been in a room in a footballing environment when a person has walked in and there are 4 people who he doesn't know and absolutely took over the room with his personality, his knowledge, his not because that's not football Glenn, but just his demeanour.
Did he not, Gilly? Did he not have an issue with his passport? Remember, he couldn't find his passport.
Wasn't it something to do with the League of Wales?
Yeah, exactly, because he played in the League of Wales, didn't he? and he needed his passport, and he's like, ever since I was a pro, I never used to write about my passport. I used to give it into the lady, and she used to have it.
That
And
was
he couldn't
Glenn,
find
though,
it for
wasn't it?
ages, and we couldn't sign him because we couldn't get his details over.
But I can remember that first meeting, and I remember thinking, I know your reputation, I know what your history is in the game, and if you're half the player that you talk about, you'll do us a job. And I you know, everything is, you know, you're a sum of the parts. But he was, for me, he was the biggest part of that team for lots of different
definitely.
reasons. Not just his ability, but what he brought to the dressing room, a belief
in the changing room.
And you know what? You look at football nowadays, you know, yeah, I can go get the ball off the goalkeeper in our own 6-yard box, and I can make
Yeah.
it. And
Agreed.
that's to a level that, you know, I look back and I see the sides of the squad that we had, and I knew we had a good side, but I didn't think for 1 minute that, you know what, we won that league by 11 points.
We'd won it at
incredible.
Carshalton. If you remember Carshalton away, that we'd got enough points by then, as it turned out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember? Just going back that season, guys. I don't know if you remember. I think the weather was really bad around Christmas time. January, and we used to train at the RAF ground on a Saturday, where our game was off for whatever reason. And we were like, if you look at the league table around that time, we were probably third or something like that, fourth maybe. And we were 6-7 points off the lead, but the top teams were losing, and we hadn't played a game. So our point difference hadn't changed. And I remember going back in thinking, crikey, if we win our next 2 games, we go up a place. And it kept happening. I think we had two Saturdays where we trained rather than played. And it gave us a few games back to back.
It was a good season. I remember Gilly, you were saying about Glenn Little's personality. I think it may have been the following season. The third, Gordon will remember the game. It was a White Hawk on a Tuesday night when I think it was our first win in the National League South. What seemed like forever. Yeah, and a few of us fans, we jumped on the team coach on the way home.
Yeah.
And Glenn was at the back of the coach with his phone showing the kids him nutmegging Kaka on a video. and they were just all over him. He was just like, they were just listening to his stories.
There's a surprise. Glenn talking about something like that.
Yeah.
I think we left the goalkeeper in an off license that night as well. We had a
the young goalkeeper. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, what was his name? We let that was at Bogner, wasn't it? We didn't play Bogner.
That's Bogner, yeah.
Bogner, yeah.
Yeah, left him in a off license.
Just very quickly, going back to Glenn Little, at the start of the season, he went off somewhere else as well. But I can't remember where it was. So he trained with us, then he trained somewhere else, came back to us, and then we lost him for about a week. And I literally thought, well, it's not going to happen. Whatever club it was, and I can't remember who it was, they got more money. You know, he's going to go there. And then I kept pestering him, but didn't get the right vibes. And he turned up on a Thursday night. He walked up to me and he said, right, I've made a decision. I was thinking, here we go. He said, I want to come and play for you lot. He said, I like it here. It suits me down to the ground. And I think I can be an influence. And he said, I just like the way you are with people. I thought, bloody hell. Oh, brilliant. You know, it was one of those totally and utterly unexpected.
And he used to walk in the clubhouse after a game. His first thing would be, where's the sausage and chips?
Yeah, he did like sausage and chips.
Oh, mate. And he'd just stand chatting to the fans. And we had fans from clubs he'd played for coming down to watch him play for Wealdstone.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, certainly a good egg.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was definitely top player, top guy.
Yeah. He was a baller. Yeah.
And of course, we ended up with a young Luke O'Neill that season as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Well, that was another thing. You know, we're talking about various things that, you know, we tried over the years. You know, going back to Andy Lee's, the pace scheme, but our link with Watford was very, very valuable. And that built up through Eddie Boothroyd, Malky Mackay, and in the end, Sean Dyche. You know, one quick one I got to mention. I mean, when we took Theo Robinson, I think it's going back a few years. We played at Yate and the lights went out and we were losing, and they were going for promotion. We were struggling, and I think the lights went out 2 or 3 times. I remember going to the referee and saying, "Right, if it happens again, we're off. We're not carrying on here." And it went off. We went in. Alan Couch, bless him, came to me, and I mean, he worked so hard, but he wanted to please everybody. And he said, "I've rearranged it for 2 weeks' time." "No, you ain't." Just forget it. They're flying. We're really struggling. For some reason, stop it. We were losing 2-0 when the lights went out. We went back probably a couple of months later, beat them 4-1. And I think Theo and who else? Oh, tip of my tongue. I can't think of the other one. Got 2 goals. We won 4-1 and stayed up. So a very important decision, that one.
Yeah. It's amazing how these things come back when you try them, these stories.
Yeah.
Well, you
absolutely.
you spoke. It was speaking about Luke O'Neill. I remember the Watford link, and it straight away. I did bump into Luke a couple of years ago. I was at Legoland with my granddaughter, and I met Lane Patterson's son actually. And about 5 minutes later, I get a text message from Luke saying, "I hear you're at Legoland." I thought, how the hell does a Sunderland player know I'm at Legoland? Anyway, cut a long story short, 5 minutes later, get another text. "I'll meet you by the pirate ship, mate. I'm here with my kids." Walked over, had about 10 minutes later, and had about 15, 20 minutes with him. What an absolute top guy he was, or is. Thoroughly
Could you
deserves
have
everything he
foreseen
gets,
that career, Gordon? Because he's an absolute legend up at Sunderland.
isn't he? Yeah. He's been fantastic. And to think, Watford let him go. Didn't think he was good enough.
No. Well, they did the same with Kevin Phillips, to be fair. So
All about
those are not
opinions.
good judges.
Yeah.
Gordon, the answer to your question
It was a
about who
nightmare.
got
Luke
the
was unbelievable because a training night down when we trained a few times at the Vale to try and get him off the pitch, like because he'd be pinging balls into the back of the net, he'd be pinging balls all over the park. Gill, you remember this because you used to turn the lights off, but he worked and worked and worked at his game, and that's why he's successful. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if success
Leo,
is needed to work, he
can I just say something here, Leo, that he texted me, I think when he made his Premier debut, and he said, "You're welcome up at Sunderland, come up training. At least you won't have to turn the lights off up there."
Brilliant.
So he still
Brilliant.
remembers those things.
Brilliant.
That's
Brilliant.
good.
That's top. That's top. Yeah, he was a good lad. He was a very good lad, in fact. He could play anywhere, that boy. Play anywhere, any position. I
Well,
remember
I'll tell
him
you what,
training.
none of us would have said he'd
Gilly.
have played centre half, would they?
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that. You would
No.
not in the Football League or the Premier
No.
League. No way.
Do you know the story of that, Gordon? When he went up to Sunderland, he was. I went up to watch him early days. I'm a bit of a Sunderland fan, and he wasn't getting in the team. It wasn't going well for him, and the manager turned around basically and said, "Have you ever played left back?" And he said, "Yeah." Of course, he hadn't or whatever, and he didn't tell him it was on FIFA on his PlayStation, but he got in the team and he'd just play anywhere, as you say. Just get
Absolutely
the chance.
fantastic. Brilliant. And thoroughly deserves it. And that show that hard work and a good attitude can get you places.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
perhaps just conscious we've been going for an hour and 25 minutes so far.
What we didn't mention, Hillsy, was Margate, which I know these guys all have got massive moment for. Do you want to talk us through your Margate experiences, guys?
What was the game before Margate? Was that the Averley one?
Yeah.
Was that
That was the easy one, yeah. Or Grays, yeah.
Yeah. To me, it was an evening game. The game. I don't think the game was great. In all fairness, I think it wasn't the best game. You know, sometimes you get these games and they're very good and they're tactical or whatever. This wasn't that. We didn't know where we were going to get a goal from. To be honest with you, we didn't know. I think
the draw was good enough, though, Micky.
Pardon?
The goal just cemented it at the time.
Oh, 100%. But at the time, I think it was 0-0 for ages.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, probably up until we scored, Mick.
Charlie Penny.
Yeah, Charlie put the ball in the Margate net.
That was a song in the bar.
Yeah, I mean,
what a night that was as well.
Incredible scenes, incredible. I mean, taking over Margate, taking over the whole clubhouse was just unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Do you know what, fellas? My memories of Margate, I've got 4 of them spanning the year. The first one was approaching the ground one day, and Tony Waugh, in his own inimitable way, turned around and said, "You know what? Even the seagulls fly upside down around here. There's nothing worth shitting on." That's the first thing. Never forgotten it. The second one was we were there one Saturday and there was an almighty wind blowing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, it was pulled off.
Cabins alongside the referees when the hoarding was ripped off of one goal. It blew over the top of the goal that was behind, all the way down the pitch, pretty much into the net at the other end.
Yeah,
and the game was pulled off.
Yeah, we were still in the pub. We didn't get out of the pub, I don't think.
The third one, we were playing, and from the dugout side, we were defending the right-hand goal, and Keita Karamoko was in goal. And he took a goal kick, and as he struck it, the ball went up in the air, the wind got hold of it, and I can remember hearing this, oh, as Keita did, and the ball went out for a corner. And then my fourth memory is Charlie Penny, and the night that followed. And brilliant days. It's like it happened yesterday. I can still see it all now. And to bring, I think we took about 300 people that night on a Tuesday night, 300 fans, something like that.
We did. Yeah, it seemed like a thousand though. It was mad.
Like I alluded to earlier, it's all about trying to bring joy and pleasure to people that we've all, I mean, Gordon and Leo in particular, have made friends with people over the years and stuff, and you have this connection with, and to be able to give something back, you know, when you talk about, like we spoke about earlier, about the Vale and groundwork, people that just put their heart and soul into it, to give something back, put a value on that. It's a memory that it's just excellent. Yeah, it'll never fade. Never. That's my Margate memory.
Leo, Gordon, what was your night like?
It's a culmination of a season, and I think both Leo and I are probably quite similar. I only remember the emotion up once Charlie scored, and all the emotions afterwards, because it's a culmination of 9 months' work, or probably longer than that. It's just a brilliant night, and it's what you work for, to have that elation.
Yeah,
go on, mate.
It's those emotions that make all the disappointments, and there's more disappointments. There is.
If you can hear me, chaps, my camera's gone off. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear
you. Yeah, mate.
But it's nights like that get to accept disappointments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's you look back over your Wealdstone days, and I know we're talking about that particular game, but the highlights, obviously the promotion at Northwood, the Dulwich one, at Southport away, big moments, Cambridge away, the Margate win. You can list a load of disappointments, which are probably a lot longer, but everybody works very hard. You look at Olympians, the reason they're up on the gold medal rostrum is because they've worked bloody hard for a long period of time for that one moment of glory. And it's brilliant.
Bear with me on this, Gordon, because there is a point to this story. At Margate, at the end, we all piled over the wall. I went arse over tit, slid along the grass to be met by a man hug from Leo. And it all went off in the bar and everyone was partying. Now, at this point, I needed a moment to myself. So I walked back out onto the terracing where the lights were now off, and there was only one other person in the stadium at that point, and that was you, Gordon. And I walked up to you, and I think you were taking a moment to yourself. You probably won't remember this. In fact, I'd be surprised if you do. You were very, very emotional, and there were just two of us in the dark stadium, and you showed me your phone, and you had about 1 million text messages. It was just, I think you were just taking a moment.
Yeah. How can I say this? I think I'm always like that, though. I remember getting promoted at Edgware, and I just stepped back and watched everybody else celebrate.
Yeah. But you said something to me as well, Gordon, which was, I almost jacked it in last season. Do you remember that? Is that true?
Listen, I had so many times where I almost jacked it in through feelings of despair or disappointment or so many things. Yeah, there's been a number of times. I had a couple of opportunities to go other places and chose to stick with it. And when you do that, you go through thick and thin. It's like players with injuries or athletes with injuries. You know, it's working hard to get over those disappointing times, working very, very hard to get back through disappointments. And when you do it and stick with it, I'll tell you, it's a wonderful feeling. And you do need to reflect, enjoy it as best you possibly can. But it's sometimes nice just to step back and watch everybody else enjoying it.
And that's what I was doing, and you were the only other person in the ground at that point.
Yeah.
I think that's what I felt at Northwood when we got promoted out of Division 3.
Yeah.
I saw the fan. That's the first time we probably appreciated the fans. They'd had such a lot of shit years, and then suddenly that, albeit only Division 3, but that was unbelievable. When I saw the fans that day, I thought, Christ, it really means something to them. So I understand completely what Gordon says. You step back and you watch what it means to other people. Sometimes that's more than your own feelings.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
Micky, I don't know if you're trying to come off mute or not, but every time you do, your mic's a bit noisy, mate.
Who, me?
Mick? No, Micky.
While Micky's sorting his IT things out, I'll rewind you, Leo, once when I think we were at the beer festival. And you tongue in cheek, I'm sure, but there is a certain amount. You lot think you're special. You're not fucking special. There's just more of you. That was your phrase.
I'll tell you what I'm relating to. Like, it's not that you're not special. It's
I'm only joking, but you did.
There's other things I don't get, right? Wealdstone fans, we're unique. Every non-league football club supporters say we're unique. Even at Hounslow, there was only 4 or 5 people put their heart and soul into it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you were getting at.
But there's more of you. That's why.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, mate.
I know what you're doing, but
trying to liven this conversation out. He wants you to fight me out.
The other thing is we're back where we belong. That's bollocks. 100%. That's bollocks. Every football club belongs where they are. So if you're in Division 3 of the Ryman League, you're there for a reason. You're there because that's where you belong, because you're either poor performances on the pitch or you've been badly run. Wealdstone deserve to be where they are at the moment. If they get relegated, that's where they deserve to be, because they weren't good enough. I don't get this.
This is the content I wanted, Leo. I've got you fighting now.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
You're also pretty much describing all the belts in the National League at the moment and their entitlement to think that they should be in the Championship.
Yeah, all the belts. Yeah, we're too big for this league. South-End's in this world.
But you belong where you are because of events.
And that's like your little story with the players, wasn't it, Leo? If you were any good, you wouldn't be playing at Wealdstone.
Yeah, if you're that good, why are you here? But that's true, though, isn't it? You're at the level because either that is your level, or you're on the way up,
Oh, you're on the way up. Yeah.
or you know, you want to be a bit realistic about things. That's all.
Fair enough.
You see, I knew you were going to wind me up with that, because that's why I say
Mate,
when
I wouldn't have been doing my job if I didn't get you bite.
Leo, just have another glass of wine and relax.
yeah, I'm on the beer now, so.
All right, sorry.
I miss
So,
you.
just as we come out of the Ryman League and all the celebrations that followed, we then had quite a tough awakening stepping into the National League in 14, 15. And I think we've already referenced it took us about 11 games to get that first win at Whitehawk. But again, can I just sort of invite you to sort of share your thoughts as in the preparation for that first season of the National League and kind of what the big differences were compared to the Ryman days?
I think you're going into it's a totally different league. It's far more professional. There was a lot more money, a lot more experience, bigger clubs, and we knew it was going to be hard because we were going to be one of the lowest budgets in there and a lot of inexperience. And we couldn't sign the players we wanted to. So we stuck with people, and to be fair, they fought their way through, learned, and obviously done enough to stay up.
We were quite a good side at the end of that season.
Yeah, but it got turned round because the other thing, there's a little bit of loyalty, which I think you've got to show players after the success we'd had the year before. But how long do you show that loyalty?
Yeah.
So we did have to turn it round. But it's a slow process. And here again, the links with the pro clubs was important, which obviously the club have carried on doing now.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me when we went into the National League South was how ruthless teams are at the business end of the pitch. You make one mistake, you get punished, and when you've got a side that is struggling to find its identity, to have to score 2 goals every game to win one, at the very least, is difficult to do. And it took a while. Like I say, I don't know how many games we went before we won that one at Whitehawk, but that was a big.
Yeah, it was 12, I think. 12.
And again, like we said before, we learned and we adapted and we found a way. Again, it's like any experience, something new. We were going into the unknown a little bit as a management team, and it was a question: are we going to get to the best out of the group that we've got? And eventually we got there, but yeah, it was just a clinical nature. I think football, it is one of those things where you can set a team up defensively to be as good as you can, but ultimately you need to score goals. And it's finding that formula to do that. I think that was a big thing for me.
It was exciting, though, wasn't it? It was. You think, blimey, we're sort of in what you call real football now. We're almost in a pro setup. You know what I mean? It was. I think it was an exciting time to go into it, and it was an eye opener. And then suddenly, blimey, you're going to better grounds, better setups. Everything about it was proper.
Who have we lost? We've lost Gordon. It did feel like a massive step up, didn't it, Ryman to South?
I think it is a massive step up, and I think clubs stay there, and it's hard work to stay, and that's about consolidation. And if you can do that, then you got half a chance of progressing. But I think it's really hard.
It is tough. I've come back now, lads. The step up is massive. You don't realise how big a step it is until you see some of these teams, especially nowadays. You've got teams like Dorking Wanderers who can just get a player at a drop set. It's just another level now, I think. Yeah.
I think
But
Gilly-
three seasons. Sorry, go on, Heidi.
No, it's all right. It's just Gilly, I think, has got power issues. He's on his way back.
We're talking about his camera, or we're talking about him personally?
Well, you looked going back to that Whitehawk game, Gordon. When I was walking out of that, I think it was a Tuesday night, wasn't it? It was raining.
It was,
As we
yeah.
were walking
Yeah.
around the pitch, I saw you walking off, and you looked like the weight of the world had been lifted off your shoulders.
I felt that a few times, mate. To be honest.
Yeah, it was a tough season. Gordon, Leo, and Gilly, how many seasons did you do in the South? Was it
One, I think.
Was it the Torquay, the Truro game at the end of that season that you?
Oh, sorry, the no, two for me.
Two. You were both the same game. You retired, although we didn't realise
Yeah.
you were going that day, Gilly. We knew Leo was going, but we didn't know you were going.
Well, I put stuff on social media in the week leading up to it because to do with personal circumstances, particularly my dad's health. That was the reason behind my decision. So I didn't thought I hid it in any way. I thought, I spoke to the gaffer about my decision. I assume my dad was in a conversation with Leo. It was just a natural, for me, it was a natural ending. Everything has its cycle. I knew what my personal situation was leading into, and I needed to have the time to, spend what I had left with my dad. Because people don't realise how much time and effort is involved. Mine was nowhere near what probably Gordon did, but it was still time consuming. You're talking about 3, 4, 5 days a week sometimes, and I just needed that time to do other things that were important to me. So I didn't think that. I thought it was general or common knowledge that I was going. To be honest with you, Mark.
I didn't. I'm fairly sure I didn't know. Leo, I knew you were.
Yeah, I spoke to Gordon earlier in the season. Couple of reasons. I wasn't enjoying it anymore. We turn up training and you're cold and it's wet and you're thinking, I'm not sure that I'm enjoying this anymore. Then I also found that I don't think I was contributing as much as I could anymore. When I took over the social club, funny enough, I seemed to have less time in the evenings than when I was working at British Airways full time. Do you understand? So Gordon might want us to go to a game on a Tuesday night. I could go and watch some. I couldn't do it because I had to cover the bar. Or I had to do this. So I just felt I wasn't contributing what I wanted to contribute. I wasn't enjoying it as much, and it was time for me to go. Like Gilly said, it goes in cycles. Your time comes to an end, and it was brilliant. I loved my time. Obviously, 30 years with Gordon Bartlett, blimey, brilliant. Came to an end. Look back on it with the fondest of memory. Miss all the guys tremendously, but I don't miss football anymore at all. Don't even enjoy watching football much anymore.
You enjoyed the pub though.
Well, I enjoy all sorts. I enjoy social life. Yeah, when I meet you guys and we go to a game.
Yeah.
If you said to me, right, we're going to a game and we're going to arrive at 10 to 3, we're going to watch football and then we're going to go home, I'll go, no, don't bother.
I don't think any of us would do that, Leo.
But that's what I mean. The whole social bit that I like about football.
Yeah.
The professional game I don't enjoy watching anymore. This 748 passes in your own half.
Yes.
Nil shots on target. I just don't enjoy football anymore. Not the way it was.
I think as well.
I've lost you, boys.
I know that Leo and I spoke about this at length towards the end of my time. There is a degree of, obviously, as a management team and players, there has to be a connection. There has to be a level of
what's the best way of saying it? A connection between you. And I think what happens naturally as we get older and the players get younger, there becomes less and less of a connection, and you have less in common. And ultimately, you have to enjoy the people you work with, be that your peers or the people underneath you. And I think as time goes on, naturally, that disparity in distance gets greater and greater, and you have less and less of connection. And the problem is that's not a problem. That's just what happens naturally. But your ability to relate to them and get them to do what you want to do gets less and less, or it becomes more difficult. And I found that big thing, and that's similar in most workplaces. And that's where the natural cycle thing comes in. I think you have to understand why am I going on this if I'm not making a difference. Obviously, my situation was slightly different, but I did have that feeling that I was having less and less in common with the players that were coming in that I could relate to. And that's important because there's a lot of people that rely on those relationships, supporters, fans, boards, all that stuff.
Don't know where to hit on me, Hills.
And sometimes you have to turn around and say, what, it's time for someone else.
No, I think you're right, Gilly. I think there is a time, and I think you're right as well, Leo, because I do remember, if Leo should remember this, but probably you, Heidi, I used to get my hair cut at the club. My barber used to come around. And I used to meet Leo in the morning on a Friday morning or Friday afternoon. And you spent more time, Leo, at the club than you ever did previous to that. And you can tell that I remember you saying to me, Mick, I've just last one for me last season. And I never used to believe it. I thought, you're just saying it. But when you and Gilly decided to do it, I think there was a big hole that was left, I think. there was a bill. But it was totally understandable. I think for both of your own reasons, I think it was totally understandable. But I just
I've
felt
lost you, boys.
You're there.
We can hear you, mate.
When you guys left.
Yeah. So, Gordon, can you hear us? Gordon, can you hear us? That's a shame.
I'm getting some error messages coming up saying something about Gordon has low browser space on his device.
Well, there you go.
There you go. he's a teacher as well.
That's why he tried the Legoland. He was too short.
Yeah.
So,
can you hear us now, Gordon?
Oh, so it looks like it's having a think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like Gordon's having a few technical problems at the moment. We've covered, and I think we've come in. I actually wanted to talk to Gordon now about. He's back. Can you hear us, Gordon? Can you hear us? Well, I can see Gordon, but I can't hear him. Gilly, can you send your wife around to Gordon's house and try and sort his connection out?
I hope she doesn't.
Gordon, can you
Can you
hear
hear
us?
us? No, he's cutting. That's a shame. I wanted to ask him about staying on another season.
Okay. While we maybe try and get Gordon back in the room, because I also wanted to just talk about Gordon and Leo, your experiences with the Vars, and as you said, playing at Wembley and leading the team out, admittedly at Elland Road. But obviously, this is culminating with a very exciting period of time for Wealdstone Football Club back at Wembley after 41 years. Obviously, league season finished 3 weeks ago, or will have finished 3 weeks up by the time we get to the FA Trophy final. Leo, maybe just from your experiences, but to all of you in general as well, just, if you were Gary Waddock in charge of Wealdstone, how would you be preparing for the day and setting the club up in the best way to get a result at Wembley?
Well, I mean, this the Vars obviously that's a competition and a trophy, but just as important effort we were at. I don't think we did anything preparation for the game. Again, we had a team full of characters, really. So what we did, we just finished the league season, which and we won the league, and then we had the Middlesex Cup final. And then we were playing quite up to it. Really, didn't have a big. I don't think we had a big gap. A bigger gap that Gary's got there. Once
a fan underneath that has some issues. You could still say why not here, which is hit Wi-Fi. It's just better that you're there when I'm dealing with.
We can hear you now, Gordon.
Can you hear us, Gordon? No. Oh dear. Sorry, Leo, go on.
Right, so really, we didn't do too much that was special. I mean, we went to the hotel the Friday night. I'll tell you what, we went to see the Buddy Holly show uptown on the Friday night. Went to Wembley in Friday to have a look at the ground. Stayed at the hotel on Friday night and then went up to Wembley on Saturday morning or Saturday lunchtime for the game. It was just, it sort of all flew by, really. And I can understand why players say now you've got to take your time if you're at Wembley, soak it in because it goes so quickly. You don't realise what's going on. It was really amazing. And then, like I say, we drew 0-0 at Wembley. It was a boiling hot day. I remember that. Extra time. And then the replay at Ellen Road.
You got your phone?
We've got you, Gordon. Can you hear us?
There. Is it?
We can hear Gordon, but we can't hear us. You had my old work colleague Paul Swales playing for you, Leo.
What a player. What a player. You know,
He never shut up about it, as you would imagine. Rest his soul. He never shut up about it.
Well, you talk about goal scorers. We've had some great ones. Jermaine Beckford, Richard Jolly. Swalesy was up there amongst them at our level. He was superb, and what a character!
He was bonkers, mate. Absolutely nuts.
Trying to manage him, well, you couldn't manage him. He was just, but the goal he scored at Ellen Road to win the Vars, unbelievable.
You talked me through it those days.
I'll echo that. I knew Swalesy well. What a lad!
Yeah,
what a player! What a character!
Exactly.
I remember he was with us at Uxbridge for a while. And both him and I were injured, and we went to, I think it was Leighton or someone like that. Leighton, I think, away. Oh my God! I don't think I've ever been so drunk before a game to him. Like, it's such a great day. You know what I mean? Those things that you look back in memories, and it was just such a nice fella, and just so sad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, sad, so young.
Great memories, nonetheless. And proper player.
Yeah.
Because the other one we had that was something to do with Wealdstone was Schwartzy, Vic Schwartz. He was a character we had there.
I think, if I remember rightly, I heard stories about Vic that with you guys, he was the same when he was up with me. We never used to call him into the dressing room until about 20 to 3. Used to be in the bar, have a couple of pints, come out. Yeah. Never seen anyone rise like him, like a salmon every single time. But give him a couple of beers, and he was good to go. Weird. Nowadays, how professional things are and unheard of. But back then, that was normal for Vic, and he always produced. So like absolute freak of nature.
Golden would say, "Look, Vic, you can't do that. You can't do that." He said, "Well, okay, if I don't get in the bar there, if I don't go in the clubhouse and have a beer, I'll have one somewhere else before I get to the ground." You go, well, you let those sort of guys do it at that level in those days. You know what I mean? Yeah. 1990, Christ sakes, and it's different today.
Our times change.
Yeah. It's like Georgie Talbot. You talk about Georgie Talbot at Uxbridge. I love Georgie. I played with Georgie at Hounslow. But that sort of character now you wouldn't see in football. And it wouldn't be right in today's football, I don't think.
No.
But that's the difference, you know, that's, you know.
I mean, a couple of things with George. I mean, I can remember two things more than anything else. The amount of brandy we used to have in our tea at half time on the winter during the a winter's game. And the other one, sign a new player, whoever it was. Go and put a pair of gloves on. Nah, not happening.
No.
Get those gloves off. You are not playing for a team that's representing me with a pair of gloves on. Just not happening. Old school. I'm not saying it's the best school, but it was what it was, and that's what we were brought up on.
Yeah, that's right.
Happy times. Yeah, I get things change, and things evolve. And
yeah, they probably changed for the better, but
yeah,
we could, and we loved the days that we had, and the times we had. You know, it's all different now.
Yeah, of course.
Are you back, Gordon?
No, he's just giving us a view of his room.
Here's a question, a quick one. Were any of you at, and Leo, I know your thoughts on this, but were any of you at the trophy final in 85?
No.
I just wondered if Gordon, and he can't hear us, Gordon might have been because he was in and around the Middlesex scene at the time. I know your thoughts on 85, Leo. That's why you had the not 1985 beer in the bar.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. No, to be honest, I didn't mean any disrespect at all, but that's all I ever heard of. That's all we ever heard.
So we talk about
1985. I go, fuck's sake, it's gone.
We can shut up now.
You know what? I get both sides of it. I obviously wasn't there, but I think we were trying to create our own identity at the time, and to have that hanging over us was a difficult thing. That expectation, we were trying to create our own group, a new Wealdstone, if you like, and it's difficult. It's difficult trying to live up to those peers that achieved greatness in the non-league game.
Yeah.
And full respect to them, absolutely, 100%. But it's hard when you've got that monkey on your back. And I get what Leo was trying to do. So, we're not trying to be them. We're trying to be us. We're trying to create our own group, identity.
We treated it with humour.
Right.
It's boring, right?
Yeah. Was humorous as well in its own way.
Yeah,
in Leo's way.
100%.
I think 85, Gilly, me and you were probably playing for Brentford at the time, innit?
Yeah, we would have been, yeah.
Were you together at Brentford, you two?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gilly was a year younger than me, if I think rightly. And I joined as I think 16-year-old. I had a year and a bit there. But Gilly went on and stayed and become a pro there. And I went off. I ended up going to Hayes. I ended up signing for Hayes, and I think Harry Manor was the manager. And then I think they signed Les Ferdinand and Bruce Rowe.
Yeah,
I think that was the end of the Hayes career.
I might have seen you play, Micky. I did used to go and watch Hayes every now and again.
I remember training, and they'd signed these two lads, and Les Ferdinand turned up, and they used to train. I don't even remember Hayes. They used to Church Road ground. They used to train to the left of it as you drive in, with like near a car park.
Yeah.
And he was in goal, Les Ferdinand. They were just smashing balls, and he was just bringing down the body in the back, and I was like, I'm not playing. I'm never going to get a game. But yeah, those were the good old days, as I say.
Again, I can see Gordon. Can you hear us?
Oh boy, I thought we had him for a minute.
Yeah.
Talking of Hayes, now this is a bit of a weird story.
I'm back.
Hey.
I just wanted to know, Gordon, were you at Wembley in 85? Because you were around the local scene.
Yeah.
You did go, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other guys said it was a bit of a monkey on your back for them, that whole story. Did you feel that? that there was a pressure because of that history?
I don't think it was pressure.
No,
I think it was.
not at all.
That's all we ever heard. You know, in 85, this 80, like Gilly said. You know, blimey, we're trying to do something. It's gone. It's finished.
No, from my point of view, no, never felt that was a monkey on the back, because we weren't in that position anymore. You know, once upon a time, you had a big ground. You were in the top division of the non-league pyramid. You'd won it. You'd been to Wembley. Yeah, fantastic. The next step was Football League. Didn't make it, and we were back to square one.
And, you know, a big part of where we are today is down to you guys. Really, I mean, the history of this club and that rebirth is you guys. And I know that's the feeling on the terraces.
Well, it's gold, Bartlett, mate. I'll tell you that. I said that earlier.
Yeah.
Big thing. Big thing.
I appreciate that, Leo, but don't underestimate your involvement and everybody else's involvement in getting the club back to where we were striving to take it back to the national. We didn't quite make it, but I think we had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh,
we also had a lot of heartaches, didn't we?
Yeah. But that's what makes the good times better.
Yeah.
Do you understand how important you are, you guys, to the fans?
Well, I tell you what, the fans are important to me. I was lucky. Dominic phoned me a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Leo, we've got complimentary ticket and the full hospitality bit for the trophy final." And I went, "I really appreciate it. That's really great. I do appreciate the club doing that, but no thanks. I'm going to be having a beer down in Kenton. Probably you'll be there, Mark. And I'm going to be.
You're in with us, aren't you? And I'm
going to be with the fans, because that's what it's about for me. The fans.
Yeah, agreed. And they are good fans. I mean, I see fans now, obviously, still being involved with the National League, and the Wealdstone fans you guys are just different. You're different, and most football clubs will say it, but from my point of view, I just feel you guys are just different. Even as a club set up, there's nothing like it. I think I've still got the keys to Grosvenor Vale. I had a set of keys as the under-18s manager.
Leo and Gilly are around the club fairly often. Gordon, when you turn up, you're stopping to shake hands every 2 minutes. Do you get that? Do you understand why that is?
Yeah, I understand why that is, and that's possibly a little bit of my reluctance where I don't go down there so much. And I don't mean that with any disrespect to anybody. I don't want the plaudits or anything else. It's very difficult because I spent 22 years there. It was part of my life. It was absolutely fantastic. But that was my life then.
Yeah.
And as much as I want Wealdstone to be successful without any shadow of doubt, I don't want to be, a pat on the back and things like that for what we've done, which was years ago. It's all about today and the future, not about the past.
Maybe, but
you've asked me a question, and the bottom line of it is, we know we worked hard and we tried to achieve as much as we possibly could while we were there. We had some fantastic times, but we had some bloody difficult times as well. We had a lot of praise, but by God, we had a lot of criticism, and that's part and parcel of managing a club. And it wasn't just a team, it's a club. And when you consider now being retired and not having all this involvement, you don't realise the amount of time it took. And even over the smallest thing, people need appreciation for the amount they do around the place, be it cleaning the toilets, putting the kettle on, or just, mowing the lawn, whatever it was, cleaning the floors. Everybody is important, and you must embrace that and realise that's the reason the club has been successful, because there are thousands and thousands of people over these years that have contributed. Some of it little, some of it quite major, and we were just part of it.
I'll tell you what, after what the four of us, wasn't it brilliant? Wasn't it brilliant?
Yeah, it was, I felt blessed to be around you guys.
Yeah,
Blessed.
it was hard work, but it was good fun. The four of us, after training or something, we'd have a laugh. Oh, brilliant! Absolutely superb times. That's what I miss about it.
You missed the banter of the lads as well.
Yeah.
And I think the two things that I miss most of all are the emotion at the end of a game, be it winning or losing, because it is a feeling. And the other one is just the general banter around the place, the little quips that come out from people, and it's sharp and it's funny at the time. You move on, and within probably another minute, somebody else has made a comment. It's just brilliant being around the dressing room and lots of players, and obviously ourselves. And whoever it is, after you, the likes of Scotty McLeish, Jimmy Gray, Stevie Newing, people like that, you're football people. Yeah. And while you're there, you want to be successful for that club, no matter what.
Yeah, very true.
Just to add in my little bit to this, in the context of modern football, the idea of a group of gentlemen being at a football club for 22 years is now just completely unheard of, with very, very limited exceptions. And I think for a lot of our younger, newer fan base that have started supporting the club in the last couple of years. But do you know what? I mean, I started supporting the club in those Edgware days, and the idea of seeing Wealdstone at Wembley or back in the National League was always just so far away. And Leo, I completely hear what you were saying about every club is, in their right place, and they are where they deserve to be. But I think it is remiss not to acknowledge the contribution that you guys made to the. Hold on.
Sorry, I lost you again.
Can you hear me now, Gordon?
Yeah, okay, sorry, lost you again. Must be a bad area.
No worries.
No, Hills, the supporters deserve to be up there for what they've done. I get that. But the point I was making, every club deserves to be where they are because of.
That's on the second device as well, so I'm struggling, boys.
We've got you.
We can hear you. We're good. Gordon, can you hear us? Oh no, I think we've lost Gordon again. No, okay.
Sorry, Elsie, this is on the second phone as well. It's still struggling.
That's all right. We've got you.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I'm just getting clicks. Think you might have to abandon me, boys.
We can hear you. Heidi, I'm conscious of course as well. We've been going for well over 2 hours now.
We knew it.
I'm sure you guys want to go for a wee at some point and actually get some sleep. But Heidi, do you have any questions, unburning questions that are not answered?
No, I've asked my questions.
Chaps,
hello?
Can I invite you? Have you got any? Gordon, can you hear us? No.
Are you still there, Gordon? No. Do you guys ever get together?
No, well, I've got to say no. I mean,
No, in all fairness, no. I used to see Leah at the ground. When I used to go and cut my hair there back in the day when I used to keys, like I said earlier. But no, we don't meet up. In all fairness, we haven't. Families and everything else has taken over.
Yeah, life, eh?
Yeah, I think life just gets in the way. Be nice to them, 100%.
It would be nice, 100%. Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice.
You guys in a pub for a few hours, you'd have some stories, I'm sure, between yourselves.
Well, it would be a serious night out. I know that.
That's why I would have liked this tonight to have been in a pub together.
100%. I agree with
Yeah.
that, Leo.
Yeah, agreed. I thought we
Leo,
would do it face to face.
Quickly, just on that, I'll get in touch with you privately about what your plans are for the day of the trophy final and see if we can hook up.
Right. Well, I'll tell you now. I'm going to be in the what's it called? The Windermere in Kent.
Windermere in Kenton, most likely, Leo. Maybe the club first thing.
Okay. Well, my train gets into Waterloo at 11:30. So. Yeah, right, Gilly. Well, let's get in touch. I'll meet up with her.
Yeah, I'll buzz you and we'll sort something out. Definitely.
Okay, mate. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, fellas. Well, I think we've probably covered a hell of a lot of ground. I appreciate the technical difficulties in the last half hour have made things a little bit difficult, but I think
I say Gordon Bartlett. You know what I mean? He's always.
But can I just again thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak to us. I think it's been a really, really insightful journey into the last 20 years and just for everything. Really, on behalf of, quite frankly, Wealdstone supporters, thank you for everything you contributed.
Pleasure. We'd loved it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully,
together, guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we will see you at
See you at
Wembley celebrating. In the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'll be there. I should be going with my family, so they want to go as well.
Good stuff. All right. Well, in the absence of Gordon, wish you all the best. And as we always say, up the Stones.
Up the Stones.